Hi everyone, it's early on Scrap Squad Sunday, and I'm gonna make this video before I get involved in my other projects that I have going on this weekend. I've got something of a mess here. This is the lift this week, and I am really loving the kind of dotty stenciled background, the monochromatic look with the stamped flower clusters and lots of like little kind of phrase stamps and some little glass dots or sequins in a few places. It's just a lovely layout, and I like the big ampersands. I don't have one quite that big, but I have three, so I figure if I use three in my three clusters that I'm going to build, I figure that point will get across. I'm going to use several different stamps because I really love how they've stamped sentiments as well as the title. And I like the monochromatic look because of the peach and then the black and white, and I'm going to kind of go with that, although I'm using a kind of a blue color instead of a gray for my stenciling, and I'm hoping it looks just like a little bit of a pale blue shadow, so we'll see how that works out. In any case, the papers I'm using, I normally would use white cardstock for this, but I'm in a challenge that calls for a pattern paper background. So this is the B side of this lovely paper from Lawn Fawn. It's, let's see, it's Skylar, Hello Sunshine, and the paper is called Skylar. And I love the branding strip, right? I've already smudged it with some ink, but we'll cover that. I've marked the spot where the photo will go, and I'm gonna use that as a guide for stamping. My mat will be, it's not exactly a mat, but it's just kind of a piece of paper that's gonna go behind it is gonna be a little bit larger. So this should be fine to guide me. This is a sheet from Vicki Boutin's pre-made mixed media pad that went with the, I forget which collection. Anyway, you get the point. It's a kind of a gradated red and pink kind of color scheme there. So that's going to be my main color. I'll use a pale blue tumbled glass Distress Oxide for the dotty background. I have punched and then embossed some flowers, kind of based on a class I took from Janet at RTS yesterday in the Scrap Smarter experience that's hosted by Alice Bowl of Scrap Happy. Amazing, amazing class. So I was supposed to go to an in-person retreat this weekend, but for COVID reasons and kind of protecting Ava's health reasons, we're not leaving the house. So this was a good substitute, and it's actually Alice's substitute for the retreat she normally has. So I've already tested this, and I like the results. I went ahead and put I punched this flower center, and I punched these flowers, and then I embossed them. I debossed them, actually. The dots are on the other side, but I thought it would be kind of cool to have the dots going in. So I did that, and now I'm stamping. I'm just going to get this out of the way and put those aside. This stamp is Seven Gypsies, I think, and it's old, and it has just names of cities, just tons of names of cities. And we love to travel, and we're traveling on our giant, massive, wonderful road trip in this photo, so I thought it would be appropriate. So I'm just gonna kind of do that, and there's no particular order, and I know that with that center, the flower would get stamped unevenly, and that was kind of part of the plan. So, let me go here. Oh, that's cool. It's got Shanghai and Bangkok and San Francisco and Washington and Boston, and there's San Francisco was one of the places we went on that road trip. We haven't made it to Shanghai, and that's where my mother was born, so I definitely want to get to Shanghai someday. Okay, so that is clean. I'm gonna put that off to the side, but I'm not finished with this black ink, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna switch gears, but what I wanted to do was to get that, these guys out of the way before I bring my Misty in front and center. I've got these sentiments that will go on there, but I can't stamp them at the same time as my rubber stamps that I'm going to use now. I'm going to get a baby wipe to clean my fingers. These baby wipes are all dried out. So it's time to bring another baby wipe. Let's see if I can refresh the baby wipe with a little spritz of water. Okay, now maybe when I handle my, I know I'm using lots of mixed media here, including the stamping and stenciling, but I really am not going for a grungy look like I normally do. Okay, let's get the Misty. Well, actually, before we do the Misty, and I'll try not to hit the camera stand next time, I'm going to do the stenciling. I've got this Dottie stencil, and I want to go all the way out to the end of the page on both sides and up high enough up here around where these birds are looking, and kind of down here so that it shows. This paper looks like, probably to the camera looks like it's white. There's a very, very faint kind of interlocking, overlapping circular pattern underneath it, and it's just so subtle and pretty. I kind of want to go along with that. So let me do this, and I'll kind of carefully brush some. This tumbled glass should be perfect. It's exactly the color of that little blue bird. So I've got my blue brush here, and we'll try this out. I just want there to be hints of circles. Here, that's great. It's exactly what I had in mind. I maybe would like a little more right in here. And because this is a stencil with different size circles, they're not perfectly lined up, I can go back over a spot that I've already done, and it won't be a problem. Okay, and I'm gonna do some up here. And I don't have to get fussy about how I've laid the stencil on there. Okay, and maybe some more down in here, which is going to be outside where I'm stamping things. Okay, that is done. Well, let me do few more up in there around that little yellow bird, but not on the little yellow bird. Okay, so stenciling is done. I can put my brush away, get that in the goes somewhere else pile. Okay, now it's time for the MISTI and some stamping. And this is always, always dangerous to do on camera because you may actually end up with that grungy look. And I'm trying to work this on a table that is filled with things that are meant to be shown on camera. Oh, let's see. Okay, so this is my 12 by 12 MISTI, and I'm hoping to get all the stamping done with it. Get those magnets. Okay, the first stamp I want to do is the big floral, and then I'm going to have a decision to make there. I don't have a rose or whatever that flower is stamp, but I do have this dogwood that I think is beautiful. So I want it to go kind of a little up to the right of where the photo will be and appear to be coming out of the photo. And it's a really good rubber stamp. Let me get all of these things out of the way so I have a free swinging lid to my MISTI. Okay, and that does clear the camp. Okay, let me stick that on there and let me get it inked up. And I have to be careful that I don't ink up my fingers or I will end up with my grungy look, whether I want it or not. And that's always an option, right? Okay. I may stand up in order to put my full weight on this, but I may not need to. Oh, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful the way it is. Okay, seeing that, I'm thinking I had this other stamp that I was going to use over here, and I kind of was maybe going to use it more right like this so that I didn't lose the little birds. And that's I think that's actually what I'm going to do. And I am not going to restamp this because I like the lighter details that gives dimension to the flowers. So I'm going to pull this off, put it aside for cleaning. Let me get it over there. Okay, I think I am going to use that right there. It's kind of a fern frond, and I have this other one, but I never could get trying to do a frame around the photo, I never could get an angle that I liked as far as that kind of a frame. So this is a different botanical, if you will, but it's really beautiful, and I haven't used it in a while, so I'm looking for, I've never used it on a layout. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Okay, and the birds are watching. This will kind of, I'll be laying this over that. That's, maybe I could do another one down here this way. Let me see. Let me get this somewhat cleaned off. And I won't touch the paper, but I'll see if maybe I could do, no, that would look like I had done exactly what I did. Okay, so we'll put that one aside. The rest of what we do is going to be sentiments. This is going to be my title. It's The Most Wonderful Story. And I want to be sure I get it right on that wire that the bird is on, and kind of up close to the bird. So I think that should, well, I can make sure that that's outside of the frame. That'll kind of help determine where my the mat goes. Okay. It should come together really quickly after I've done the stamping. And fortunately, the stamping has worked out well. As you can tell, I've used this stamp a lot. Okay, I like that. Again, I'm not gonna overdo it. I'm not gonna restamp it, though with the MISTI I could. This is a sentiment that says, the journey has many paths, and I thought I might do that one maybe kind of down in here. Well, I'll do it this way, and then I can build, I'd like my clusters built around these things, but there's a third cluster I need, and I think I'm going to build it maybe down here, and it's going to be with an ampersand and a flower. So I'll just put it there, and then I'll worry about where the rest of the cluster goes. I don't think I've ever used this particular sentiment. And I like that it's in a typeface and a completely different font from the title there. And the stamp kind of bent, but that kind of gives us another path, right? I'm not sure why that happened, other than I guess we can write it off to cheaper stamp. The Oh How Lovely, I would like kind of right in here. But again, I have to be sure that's not. Is that good? That should work. Okay. So I won't press as hard on this one in case, in case it's acrylic instead of photopolymer. And I don't know, I actually a few years ago kind of unboxed a bunch of my stamps and divided them up. It wasn't in a storage system that that pretty much got rid of their brand identification. Okay, I think I will restamp that one because I didn't press very hard on it. Okay, now, am I done with black stamping? I wish I had a little XOXO. It seems like I did at one time, but I think it's okay here. If I find it later, I can go back and just put it on a block and stamp it maybe on top of the mat, the photo mat. Okay, now I feel like I can handle the paper. And we'll put the MISTI away. Oops, I'll take this stamp off and put it over with the stamps to be cleaned. Okay, put that away. Bring this guy into frame. And let's see. I'm sure my arms crossing over the view is just not the most attractive. Okay, let's see what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna kind of faff about with the placement here. That looks acceptable. I'll go down to that bird. Maybe a little bit over. And let's make sure it's parallel to the sides there, because I really want this one to be lined up. And now I've put this on foam and I've kind of raveled the edges a bit. Just to give it a little different kind of look. Okay, now let's pull these guys. I've got my journaling here, which I thought could go there, but I want to pop it up on some foam and maybe get a little bit of that blue ink on the edges. Let's see how that works. I just want something to make it stand out. Cut that a little wide. Okay, let's get this guy. Ooh, that looks nice. And just what ink is left on here is enough to give it that look, that look. And that covers up my smudge that's been bothering me up here. Do that. What I'm trying to do is not mess with the birds. It kind of will look like the birds are reading this, and I'm leaving as many of them showing as possible. I think I covered one up here. Now I have these flowers that I'm also going to pop up on foam. And we'll see, I want to take my tweezers and raise up these guys for the dimension. I wanted them stamped so that their stamping looks like part of the flower. I mean, this was kind of my going in idea there. And that certainly worked. Well, I should have done my adhesive before I did the fluffing, right? Whether that was a good idea, we'll kind of all be the judge at some point. I'll do it maybe there, and I'll put the smallest ampersand down there. I've got 3 ampersands and 3. I'll use the small one kind of down just underneath that petal. And then we'll take this flower let me get the foam behind it too. I haven't decided which set of sequins. I think color is going to do it for me because I am going for that kind of monochromatic look. Had I gone with a peachy monochromatic look, this set of sequins that I called Lovey Dovey would have been perfect. This is one of the August mixes from Spiegelmom Scraps. But I think I'm going to go with Strawberry Fields because there are a couple different sequins in there that kind of pick up on that, the pinks and reds in this. Okay, and I'm possibly going to do this overlapping that guy. I tell you what, maybe I want the smaller sequin right here on top of or the smaller ampersand there, top of that, which means this ampersand would go here and kind of up above. Now I've still got my flower and ampersand that have to go here. Let's do this. Maybe right there. Again, preserving the bird. Let me get these guys fluffed and lifted. I punched the centers and the flowers out of the same paper, but their different sections have, you know, the different kind of ombre variations there. So this can go like that. I've got this thing that's certainly the right color and the right sentiment, but I think it's not going to work. I have this Together Is a Wonderful Place to Be, and if I were doing a really multicolor, this might not be too bad, but it really is not the same blue. It doesn't really seem to go very well with that. I do want to use this little couple, and I want to use this arrow, and the arrow I think can go right there. The couple maybe right there on the picture. This is, we're standing in front of a poster at the ballpark. Okay, I think that's gonna work, and then the rest of it's kind of gluing and some dots. I'm just gonna kind of lay this on here. I'm gonna do sequins in each cluster. And then I'm going to go back with pearl drops. This is or liquid pearls, and do I'll put the sequins out over here and some sequins around in there. I'll put the pearl drops in the middle of the flowers. So, okay, I'm gonna maybe, the thing is I don't want it to look like it's in line. So maybe I'll push it out this way, and then I'll do some sequins, my sequins in there. That works better. This one is okay to be a little bit tilted. Okay. There we go. Now, before I'm going to do the pearl drops last, even after the sequins. So let me pull some sequins out here, and there is this color. And it's a kind of an iridescent version of that same color that's in those flowers. It's just amazing. It's these are incredible sequins, and they look almost orange in the light over where I'm picking them up, but when I put them directly under the light and maybe to the camera, they look a little bit fuchsia, kind of a purplish hue. But when I get them out from the direct light, they change back to the more copper or something. Okay, so this I'm gonna put here, dot, dot, dot. And I've already used this mix on several pages. So, in fact, I find myself choosing colors for a page based on the fact that I want to use those sequins. And I'll probably use the smaller ones in a shaker pocket, but I don't do, when I'm in do as many layouts as you can, get as many points as you can, I save my big kind of involved cut file backing and shaker pocket filling sort of layouts for later, for another time, or the beginning of the week. So we'll see. Okay, I think that's done. So it's time now for the pearl drops. I'll put the sequins away later off camera. And these pearl drops I'm hoping will add just exactly the right touch of white in the middle of those kind of grungy looking flowers. Okay. Okay. And this one doesn't need a pearl drop, but I may just scatter a couple drops here and there. I touched the paper on that one, and it's gonna, these pearl drops are not as obedient as the Nuvo drops are, but I don't have this color in Nuvo. So I'm done. I think I'm very happy with it. I think I got the same, oh, I didn't glue my little arrow down. Just a tiny bit of glue there. I think I got the idea of the stamped with the dimensional florals. And the kind of dotty background that's just a hint of color, and I've got the ampersand around and kind of varied the look of the three clusters. So I'm happy with it, and thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the process. See you next week. Bye.